Shalom. I'd like to start this lesson by saying Ka Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and to the hopeful light pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This lesson is just going to be talking about the sword blessing that Esau got. Because, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear for the people that can see, the ones that the Most High is dealing with, that the so-called Edomite, Esau, the inhabitants of Idumea are the so-called Caucasians. Well, not so-called, actually, because Caucasians actually just means cave dwellers. So they were cave dwellers. So you mean the so-called white man, right? They're Esau because they have the blessing of the sword, right? So Genesis 27, if you know the whole story, Jacob tricked Isaac into giving him the blessing, right? Which he didn't really, he did trick him in a sense, but at the end of the day, it was supposed to go to him anyways. Because the Most High, actually, let's go to that right now. 1 Corinthians 14:33, for Yahweh is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. So the Most High, Yahweh, is not the author of confusion. So in the sense, he doesn't make mistakes. So yes, in the story, Jacob, he wore a furry, hairy garment to trick Isaac, because Isaac was old at the time. He couldn't really see that was Esau. But in the day, the Most High wanted that blessing to go to Jacob anyways. So it doesn't matter. So these Edomites are mad because we supposedly tricked Isaac into giving his blessing. We didn't really, because Most High wanted to give it anyways. That's just for theater. Most High is about theater, theatrics, movie. He's a director. Right? And even in, actually, let's go to Genesis 25 and 23. Right here. And the Lord, Yahweh, said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 nations are Jacob and Esau, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Right? Israelites and Edomites. Look like that. And the one people shall be stronger than the other. Right? And the elder shall serve the younger. So you can look at this. You can look at this 2 ways. I mean, one people shall be stronger than the other. So the people that are stronger than the other, like Israelites are stronger than everybody else. Like genetically, we're just stronger than everybody else. Faster, stronger, smarter. Right? Majority of those inventions that were created, especially in America, were created by Israelites. They weren't created by actually Caucasians. They just took credit of the creation, the invention, and then said it was theirs. Right? Because at the time, slaves didn't really have a say of anything. So, for them to move up, they had to work with, the Edomites had their own slave assistants, so to speak. Right? They had whatever, how it was going on where Jake was starting to get they're trying to get their feet, the ground under their feet again. But like when they created invention, the Edomite boss would take credit for it. Right? So we were just good at everything because we're the salt of the earth. Right? But it says here that one people shall be stronger than other people. So yes, Israelites are stronger than everyone else, but we're still in a low class. We're still under everybody right now. So in the sense, they are stronger than us, right? Because we're still in captivity. So they are stronger than us in a sense, right? And the elder shall serve the younger. So the elder is Esau. Esau's the elder. But right now, he's not serving us, right? But at one point, he was serving us when David took control of Edom, right? David took control of Edom and he put it under lockdown, and they served him. right? Because their what blessing was the sword. They were good at killing, so he served them, right? David even had the Canaanites under him, serving him. So at one point they were serving us. But once again, they broke up from their shackles, because it goes in Revelations where it says the serpent, or the devil, I believe, will be loosed, I'm roughly paraphrasing, but will be locked away in the pit for 1,000 years and then loosed for a little season. So at one point, Esau was serving us, and he was also the weaker one, right? Which goes back to where he's supposed to be anyways, because we're the stronger, right? But at one point, they're also supposed to get dominion, right, of everyone else. Because in that scripture, in that prophecy in Revelations, it says he's loose for a little season. So and it says also, as soon as he's loose, he deceived all the nations. So that's what he did when the Renaissance happened. Esau came out of that low state, and Jake, I think there was the Black Plague that happened back then, and Jake was weakened, and Esau came out and they took Jake out, right? They got their power back. They got control of the place, of everything, right? So that was the little season that they were loose for. It's only a little time, though, because their rulership is coming to an end, because they're not supposed to be in power, right? But also, their blessing told them that they will get dominion at one point, right? So, I don't want to go on a tangent, but one people shall be stronger than the other, which is Jacob, because Jacob's just naturally stronger than everyone else. Edomites are just weak. They can't even go out in the sun. They go out in the sun for like 10 minutes, they burn. Or they get all these diseases, or their body ages very bad. If you know Edomites, when they age, they look bad. That's why they have all this plastic surgery and all this stuff. Botox injections and all this stuff. It's just because they want to look like Jake. Jake doesn't need any of that. We don't need to get Botox injections, right? We don't need sunscreen. You know, we're naturally just more athletic. We're faster, stronger, right? Even their women want our men. Because even researchers even stated, or scientists have even stated that the so-called black man, right, really the Israelite man, his sperm, its genetic makeup is a lot stronger than the Edomite, the so-called white man. And this is their scientists that came up with this knowledge, that found this out, right? Even Israelite babies, so-called black babies, when they're born, they learn a lot faster than the so-called Edomite baby, right? Now, people might say, well, how come they're always in these prestigious schools? How come they have these classes, or they're high up in society? Well, because one, they're the ones in control, so they're going to make sure their people rise first, rise really above everyone else, because it's their kingdom. Two, everything is designed to make Jake dumb. You know, you have TV shows, you have food, you have the air. Everything is designed to docile Jake. If these things weren't in place, we would be above them right now. But we're in captivity in so many different ways that people don't even understand. Psychologically, we're in captivity. Emotionally, we're in captivity, right? Right? Physically, we're in captivity. And even with that, they can only do so much, because you still have it, like majority, I say 99% of athletes that are in sports are Jakes. Because it isn't like we're just better. So you can only push them back for so long, keep them in captivity for so long, because it's a spiritual gift that was given to them. So no matter what the amount of wickedness that they do, it still can't hold back Jake's spirit, right? Because the spirit always beats carnal. But nonetheless, we're still under captivity, which is why they did that to slow down Jake, because they're still ruling right now. Even like with blonde hair, blue eyes, and brown hair, brown eyes, Edomite scientists have stated that blonde hair, blue eyes is a recessive gene, right? Brown hair, brown eyes is a dominant gene. And who has brown hair, brown eyes? The so-called natives, the so-called Latin people, right? And the so-called Negroes. They all have brown hair, brown eyes. Now, some of them do have blonde hair and whatever. That's because they've been mixing and mingling with other nations. But, you know, they originally have brown hair, brown eyes. So that's why we're just naturally stronger in every aspect. just Esau has been creating all this wickedness to slow us down, to keep us under them. That's only for a short time, because that's coming to an end real soon. And one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau's going to serve us at the end. So it's just a matter of time. Because this is what the Most High said. Yahweh said this. Right? This is from his words. One people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. The elder is Esau. He was born first. So he's going to serve us. Right? And that's why I read that scripture. Yahweh is not the author of confusion. Right? So it's not like he was confused when he said this. Because people would say, well, Esau, Edomites are under us, or the Edomites are in control now. We're serving them. So does that mean that the Most High lied? Does that mean he was wrong about what he said? That means the scriptures are not true. It's like, no. Right? If you can see what's going on, they're going down. They've been going down. And you can even see right now, it's very apparent that they're going down. They're scrambling right now like a chicken with his head cut off. So we're back in Genesis 27 and 40. Okay. Genesis 27 and 40. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. Right? So the sword is how Esau's going to live. Right? This is Isaac talking to him. And he says, and shall serve thy brother. Now it's funny, what he's telling them is like a bunch of prophecies in one statement. Which is crazy. It's really crazy. So we're just going to focus on when he says, and by the sword shalt thou live, right? Because a lot of people, especially, Israelites, there's a lot of Israelite camps outside UMS that they have like armies, they go to a shooting range, they practice shooting, like tactical combat, right? They have their kids, they're teaching their kids how to put weapons together. Sakyo. It's crazy. But I told you that their blessing's a sword. That's their blessing. Right? I'll just show you. I'll read this article. I was watching a movie. I don't remember what movie it was. But they had these... Well, one movie was The Purge. There's the new Purge with the Jake. I think it was the first Purge. And the Jake... They're trying to figure out what's going on. The Purge, what the Purge actually was or is. And I seen this drone weapon that these guys, the military, shot out, and it's just slaughtered them. They didn't even have a chance. All their guns that they had, all the shooting that they'd been practicing. These guys came out of the car, and these drones just came and one drone actually just came in and splattered 10 people, 10 Jakes, just like that, and it was gone. On to its next mission. I was like, they're using machines. I was like, yo, these Jakes think that they have a chance against the military and all their weapons. You think you have a chance. And it's funny, this is what I mean by psychological captivity, because in that movie, The Purge, the first one, it's called The First Purge, they designed it to make Jake think, okay, you can fight back, you guys get your guns together, you can fight back, there's a way, you can do it, right? Instead of focusing on the Most High, they're focusing on, actually, let me just grab that right now. Spelled that wrong. 2 Corinthians 10 and 4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So a carnal weapon would be a gun, something physical. So in that movie, it has these Israelites, these Jakes, these so-called black people, these Negroes, grabbing up guns, fighting back. They had the leading role guy. He's like a really good military guy. He can fight, he can shoot. All the women love him because he can kill. It's like, okay, but that's not your blessing, first of all. That's Esau's blessing. So Esau's always going to be better at you than that. No matter how much training you do, Esau will always be better. Because that's his actual blessing. Now, Jacob could still be good at it because he's just naturally good at things. But that's Esau's blessing. Okay? But mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, right? So we use spiritual weapons. We use the scriptures, That's our weapon, right? That's why it's putting on all these strongholds on this planet, right? All these lies that are strongholds, all these lies about, these so-called Edomites that are so-called saviors of Babylon and around the world, not just Babylon, but around the world. That's why all those statues are being pulled down, right? Because everyone's waking up. They're getting angry. They're like, yo, these guys are actually wicked. What are we doing? Why do we have statues and all this stuff? Yeah, let's take this down, right? And it's being pulled down everywhere. On the internet, everywhere. Even people in jobs, even white people, so-called white people, when they walk and they see a Jake, they're nervous. You would think because it's the COVID, that's why they're walking around. But they're nervous. Sometimes they'll say hi to you. It's because it's a nervous hi. Just like, say it. They're like saying hi, like, hey, I'm friendly. You don't need to hurt me. Hi. And it's happened to me multiple times. Because I'm thinking, like, why are you saying hi to me? But I can look at their face. I can read their spirit. It's because they're nervous. They're scared. Right? So it's like, right? So we're going to go back. Right? So their weapon is a sword. Right? So back to what I was saying, in this movie, there was a drone that just splattered them. So that's why they're conditioning Jake to think that they can fight back. They want Jake to fight back, actually, because that's going to create more chaos. Because what they want is more chaos, right? Order out of chaos. That's their motto. So they want people to fight back. They want race wars to happen because they want people to think that they can fight back by using guns and stuff. That's the way you guys can do it. You have a chance. Right? So like I was saying, these Israelite camps are doing the same thing. Like they're practicing shooting guns and at these just shooting weapons, practicing how to put them together, bombs, combat, hand-to-hand combat. I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is not your blessing. So you're not going to be, it doesn't matter how much you train, you will never be as good as Esau. Esau's blessing is the sword, right? And I'm also going to go into something else. See if I can find it. 23. Let's go back. 23, 27. Okay, right here. Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. Okay, so we're going to go into two words. Sword and hunter. The English sword. West Saxon sword, Northumbrian sword. Okay, I'm not going to keep reading those. Okay, High German sworon, to hurt. Literally the cutting weapon. So it's a weapon. To cut or pierce. So that's why when people read this, you're like, well, it says their blessing is a sword, right? That's not Esau. They don't fight with swords. If anyone fights with the swords, it's Arabians. The so-called the Middle Eastern people. Okay, but it just says it's a cutting weapon. Right? And we can really break this down. We can go into what the word cut actually means. Right? But it also says to cut, pierce. So something that pierces you. Doesn't a bullet pierce you? Right? Doesn't a bullet pierce you? A bullet does pierce you. Right? Sword, a cutting or thrusting weapon that has long metal blades and hilt with a handle. Right? So it means to pierce, to hurt, really. Something that hurts you. So anything can be a sword, as long as it hurts you. Okay? And then we can go into the word. It said cunning hunter. Cunning. Learned. Skillful. Possessing knowledge. So they have the knowledge of the sword. They have the knowledge of hurting. And they do, because the sword is not just weapons like guns. It's also biological swords, right? Biological warfare, what they put into the foods, the cause to hurt you, to hurt your body, to make you weak, right? What they caught, what they put into television shows, like brainwashing, psychology, that causes you to hurt, right? And mentally, it causes you to hurt, right? And emotionally, they have it where they emotionally hurt you in a sense of like taking the father out of the home and destroying your neighborhoods and stuff like that. So they know their blessing is a sword, but the blessing is to hurt. If you want to break down what their blessing really is, it's the blessing of hurting, causing pain, death. That's their blessing. Okay? So cunning, they're skillful. They're learned. They have the knowledge. They possess the knowledge of hurting. And that was given from the Most High himself through Isaac, which is Yahushai. So they have that blessing. Okay? And then let's go to the hunter. One who engages in the chase of game or other wild animals, right? So the actual definition of an animal means humans. It's actually I'll go into that first, but let's go into this. Hunter, one who engages in the chase of game or other wild animals. So right here, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, because Jacob was simple, you know. He did what he needed to do. Jacob wasn't about that life. At least right now, he will be. Right? Because once all the prophecies come to pass, it also says that the fishermen will become hunters. The fishermen are the elect. Right? The fishermen will become hunters, roughly paraphrasing. So we will become hunters. But not right now. We're not hunters right now. Like I read in Corinthians, you know, our weapons of warfare are not carnal. It's the scriptures. So we have spiritual weapons, which is the scriptures. So it's not a time to be becoming hunters, to be hunters. That's it's Esau's time right now. And it's about to get started because Jacob's trouble hasn't even really started yet. Like everyone thinks, oh, the worst it's done. You know, the riots, everything's bad. It's going to get back to normal. It's like, no, it's just going to get worse. This is just the beginning. It's about to get a lot worse very quickly. Right, so cunning hunter the field. Okay, so right there, hunter, one who engages in the chase of game. So Esau loves to kill. He loves it. He loves to put hurt onto people. He thinks of ways how to kill people and mess them up, right? That's how they figured out all these ways to break bones, all this stuff in combat, because it's literally, they meditate on it. Just like the elect meditate on pleasing the Most High, Esau meditates on how to hurt people, how to cause death, right? How to kill. That's what they meditate on because it's their blessing. Their blessing is not to follow the Most High. The blessing is the sword to hurt. That's their blessing. And these Israelite camps think they're going to come against the Most High because that's really what they're doing. Because the Most High gave Esau that blessing. So you're basically saying, no, I'm going to go against what the Most High said. I have the blessing of the sword. I can do it. It's like, what are you doing? Right? Right. So hunter is someone that hunts, who engages in the chase of game or other wild animals. And right, it's funny. It's really funny, this definition. 2/3 are wild animals. Because you want to go into the word animal. Animal, early 14th century, any sentient living creature, including humans. So any sentient living creature is an animal, right? I'm going to go into the word wild. Uncultivated in the natural state, uncultivated, untamed, undomesticated, uncontrolled. Doesn't that sound like the 2/3? These Israelites, they're not controlled. They're uncontrolled. They're undomesticated. They don't follow rules. They do whatever they want. Having sex with another man's woman, right? Having sex with another man. Woman having sex with another woman, right? Eating pork, eating shrimp, all these foods that they're not supposed to be eating. They're untamed. They're undomesticated. They're uncontrolled. So Esau is a cunning hunter. So the Most High's sword, he's going to use him to hunt down these wild animals. Right? These wild animals are these 2/3. They're uncontrolled right now. That's why if you're not following the Most High, and doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to get caught into that because he's going to send Esau after you. Because that's Esau's blessing. Esau loves doing it. He drools at it. He meditates at it. That's his pleasure, is killing. He loves it. Right? So that's it on that. And then, so you can see why, like, you don't have a chance. I don't know why someone that's in the truth, or so-called in the truth, is practicing shooting guns and doing all that nonsense. Why don't you just wait till Most High gives you the blessing when he changes our bodies? Then you can become a hunter. Right now, you're just a fisherman. And you're just fishing for brothers in the, to come into the truth. Right? So let's go to the article. U.S. Army new drone swarm may be a weapon of mass destruction. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm not going to read this whole article. It's long, but weapon of mass destruction is a term used in arms control circles signifying something capable of damage on a large scale and subject to international treaties. Jeez. So they have to make treaties because it's that dangerous. Like, yo, if we make a treaty with you guys, we're cool with you guys, just don't use this weapon on us. Okay? Right, so, I mean, this is the weapon they're referring to. I'm going to show a video so you know what it looks like. Cluster Swarm. It's called the Cluster Swarm Project. If you want to look it up yourself. Okay, so...
Introducing the Google Hands-Free Jukebox. Nest Audio from Google.
Squeezed between the two moving wheels, and then flung outward, towards the bat, turning a baseball pitching machine into a military drone launcher. A team of researchers from Caltech and NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab have settled on a novel way to launch drones in a hurry, shoot them into the air with a baseball pitching machine. The technique could allow future U.S. forces to launch quadcopter-style drones quickly and even from moving vehicles. U.S. forces are increasingly relying on drones as a means to conduct reconnaissance. Drones allow ground forces to gather information about hard-to-reach places, whether behind enemy lines or the tops of nearby hillsides. For infantry and other groups, deploying a drone like a quadcopter is no big deal. For mechanized forces fighting from tanks and other fighting vehicles, deploying a drone means stopping, getting out of the vehicle, setting up the drone, and then...
They've designed it where now they can fight these drones from a baseball machine. And Jake thinks they can fight against Esau. And these are the only weapons that you know about. Remember, their blessing is a sword. I think they say that the army is like 40 years ahead of the general population. So their technology is already 40 years ahead of us. So what we get is like their hand-me-downs, basically. So yeah, we're done with this. We're already on to the next. We already have more. And it's smart. Keep people 40 years ahead or behind, sorry. They'll never catch up to you. So you always be ahead of them. You'll always be in control because their thing is about control. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into the whole video. But you can see, like, there's no chance. I don't know why you would be investing your energy, your spirit into the sword. It's not your blessing. It's just silly. So we have two more precepts and close. 2 Samuel. 8 and 14. Oh yeah, this is what I was referring to. Actually, let's not go into this. That's a whole different topic. Romans 9, 10. Oh. uh, 10 to 13. Okay. Okay, right here. So I was making a point about who's going to serve who. Romans 9 and 10, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahweh according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So basically the point is what he's saying is that these children haven't done any good or evil yet because they haven't been born. But Yahweh's purpose, right, for them is gonna stand. Like, it's going to happen regardless of what they did, if they have done evil or good in the past, right? Or if they even done evil or good. So they're not even born yet, right? But we know who they are in the reincarnation anyways. Right? And also, it's not of works, or not what they do, but of him that calleth. So anyone that's in the truth right now, the elect, at one point they wanted to do something else. Like, I can speak for myself, I should say the hopeful elect. I was a professional football player. Like, I was playing professional football, and then at one point, it stopped happening for me. And I know it was the Most High, because the way it worked is that everywhere I turned, everything I did, things did not work out, right? It didn't make any logical sense because it was spiritual, right? And then one time, I was trying out for teams. I was doing all the trading. Like, I was in the best shape I could possibly be in, but yet a team didn't want to sign me, right? It didn't make any sense. Because people always ask me, like, how come you're not trying out? How come you're not going back to football? I was like, yo, I have been trying. You guys don't get it. It's not me that's stopping me from going to do this. It's the Most High that's stopping me from doing this. Because I'm supposed to be doing something else. And I even went to California, because I'm from Canada. I was playing in Canada. Went to California, went to do a combine there. And the American scout looked at me. I was the best of everyone there at that combine. And he looked at me, he's like, I don't actually understand why you're not on the team right now. It doesn't make any logical sense why you're not on the team right now as we speak. You obviously can play, so I don't get why you're even here. Like, I don't get it. Right? So once he said that to me, I was like, all right, I know what's going on here. I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore. Right? It's because the Most High, Yahweh, has called me, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has called me into something else. And that's when a brother, Amath, he found me. The Most High sent him to me, and then he told me about the truth, and I was like, oh, wow, this makes total sense. Yeah, I'm in. And that was it. So that's the reason why I said that story about myself, is because right here where it says that the purpose of Yahweh according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. And Yahweh is the one that calls you, right? So he called me into this, right? He took me out of that and called me into this. Doesn't mean I've been chosen yet, because you've only been chosen when you're in the chariots. That's when you know you've been chosen. Right now I've been called. And the same thing with Jacob and Esau. Jacob was called for his blessing, right, to serve Yahweh, and Esau was called to have the blessing of the sword, right? So Jacob was called to be good, and Esau was called to be evil, right? That's where they're supposed to be. So back to what I was saying, these Israelite camps that are trying to practice the sword, and it's like, it's just a waste of time. That's not your calling. Your calling is not that. Your calling is for the truth, to serve Yahweh. So stop wasting your time into that. That's Esau's calling. Verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, right? That's Esau. He'll serve Jacob, and he will serve us in the kingdom. You'll be our slave. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So Yahweh hates Esau. He hates these so-called Edomites, these Caucasians. He hates them. Now, they could say, well, I mean, we're doing good. We're on top. Everything's good for us. Someone that's so-called white, you go into a job, you get a job, a credit's good, money's good. It's like, sure, right? Because it also says when you're talking to Esau that, you have dominion at one point. But at the end of the day, you're still going to serve. You're still going to serve Jacob. You're still going to serve the younger. Right? Because like I said, and I'll read it again. For Yahweh is not the author of confusion. Right? So he's not the author of confusion. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So even though Jake is on a low state right now, he still loves them. It's like a son, or sorry, a father that's punishing his child. If he ignores you and lets you keep committing wickedness or being, basically wickedness, not listening, then he doesn't love you anymore because he stopped caring. The reason why Jake's in this state is because the Most High cares. Because you guys need to understand. You need to learn. You need to get it. That's why he's punishing you. Why do you think he's not punishing these Edomites? Well, he's going to. That's also part of prophecy. He's going to, because he also hates them too. So they have no idea what type of trap they're in, right? Especially these banking families. But why do you think he hasn't been punishing them? He hasn't been really doing anything to them. He doesn't care about them. They're not his child. They're not his loved one, his favorite people, his chosen people. He doesn't care about that son. He's like, that son's wicked. I don't care about him. I will judge him anyway, regardless. I'm going to judge him because he's wicked and he needs to be punished for his wicked deeds, right? But I'm not punishing him because I want him to get better. I'm punishing him because he just needs to be punished, right? Okay. So it says, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So that's the point on that. I hope it was edifying. I just wanted to state that, that Esau's blessing is a sword. And the video I showed of is only one of the weapons that you've seen. That's only one of the weapons that they actually even shown you. Right? They probably have laser cannons, I believe. I don't even think about the weapons they have. Right? But for an Israelite man to be vesting in the sword is just silly. It's just nonsense. Because you guys are thinking carnal. That's why you're doing that. And most times, like I said, and I'll read it one more time. Weapons. So I don't want to just... Oh. Holy smokes. Second Corinthians 10 and 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So we do not use carnal weapons. Okay? But mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. So, I mean, if you're into using carnal weapons like swords, when I say swords, weapons like guns, anything that causes hurt physically, then you're not in the truth. You're not yet. You're not really in the truth. Because Most High is not about that. Right? He's not about using carnal weapons for his men. Now, he's going to use carnal weapons to kill everybody. Right? But that's his sword. He's going to use his sword to do that. So, like I said, I hope this lesson was edifying, to the hopeful elect. I have to close out by saying, Kal Halak Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, double homage to the apostles of the great millstone, and to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth, death and destruction to his wicked kingdom, and the 2/3 as well. Kwam Yasharala, about Shalom.